Alrighty, hello, welcome to the CREEDCAST. It is Thursday evening, 18th of September, 8:30 in the evening. And our squads for this weekend's Round 6W matchup at Alberton Oval have dropped. We play at Alberton Oval, 12:35 p.m. This Saturday, as we always say, get down there. Tickets are cheap, memberships are cheap. Get down there, get around the girls as they take on the Geelong Cats in a little lunchtime slot on Saturday afternoon. For our Port Adelaide Footy Club, just one change, but it's a big one. Oh my God, it's happening. Lauren Young is finally making her long-awaited debut for our club. So many raps on her, and we'll get into that in a moment, but she is coming in, and Jasmine Sowden is making way for her. Jazzy has certainly applied herself well, but I think with the fact that we're getting fitter now and a talent as hyped as Lauren Young is coming back, someone had to make way, and it probably makes sense for positional that it is Jasmine. But Jamie, good evening. This is very, very exciting times for Port Adelaide fans that have been looking forward to this for a long, long time.
Hello. And yes, it has been a long time coming. Obviously topical in Loz Arnell's press conference today, mentioning that she's come in a bit differently to a lot of debutantes, or sorry, young draft picks is a better way to put it, where she's had to watch everyone else debut and play while kind of developing her body through rehab
Yeah.
predominantly. So she's had the benefit of just letting the dust settle in some ways, to paraphrase Loz. And now she gets to actually play football with a lot of the things that she would have learnt from the sidelines, and now gets to apply it in a game. And yeah, unfortunate for Sowden. I mentioned the other day that the numbers weren't great, but you could kind of see some things and why she played every game up until that point. But she has been picked in the forward line in those 5 games, and we're bringing in a forward who looks to add height and versatility to our forward mix, and hopefully just a bit of extra polish as well. When I would imagine that the way that we're playing and the way that we played against Melbourne, they would try to emulate
Mm.
again at home. The 2 games at home, um, 2 most recent games at home are what they want to replicate for sure. So Lauren Young into the mix. Yeah, I'm a bit jealous of you. I won't get to see her in action, but I'm excited for her to be playing nonetheless.
Yeah, and it will certainly be a replay watch. I'm sure you'll be looking forward to getting to, just even regardless of how the result goes. You just get to actually get some vision, some mental data of what Lauren Young is going to provide. And certainly, I want to temper expectations. It is her first game. We certainly expected the height that she comes in with is very, very warranted due to the fact that she was 15 years old, best and fairest in the Sanford W. She was
Hmm.
an All Australian at the under 19 level, South Australian MVP. Like, she's done so much. Won the Sandford W's Breakthrough Player Award and Coaches Award. She's done a lot pre-entering the AFLW system via the I think it was the expansion system.
Yeah, it had a
Talent
really
pathways.
long name.
Yeah, wait, here we go.
It was like
2023 expansion under 18 talent pathway pre-signing period. Say that
that's
3 times quickly.
ridiculous, isn't it?
I'm sure the AFLW and fans are like,
Expialidocious.
yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm sure fans are just excited now that we've got with the 18 team competition now, and we're now finally into just a full national draft and players just coming through that way now, rather than
Hmm.
having to spell out these terms. But whatever way she ended up at Port Adelaide, she ended up at Port Adelaide, and we're very, very happy for her. And she's got a lot of raps on her. But it is still her first game for a couple of years, more or less, and she's playing the top level. So there's probably going to be a little bit of rust. There's going to be a little bit of who knows, understandable nerves maybe. And we've certainly seen some players come in, and once they shake off those nerves and that rust, whether it be Piper Windows, exponential improvement across last year. But I just want to be confident and enjoy. I do expect her, like, the fact that she's been able to actually, she knows these girls. She's been in the system for 2 years as a training player at least, and just in the
Hmm.
culture. she's probably going to be settled in, bedded in, have a fair few good relationships there. There's a chance that she can come in and really, really well. I mean, we expect her probably to impact fairly well immediately, and I think she's probably. I mean, she's 20 years old now already, which is incredibly young, but she has been in the system for a couple of
Yeah.
years. Um, that's going to happen a few times, I reckon.
And hopefully we say that's incredibly young. It's a terminology that we'll commence using in future games.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully
Hopefully, like,
starting with this weekend.
wouldn't that be great? Like, it's just on Tuesday, we're just using the man. That was so youngy. Like, it's just,
Yeah. Oh, that was so incredibly young.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm excited on what she can add to this forward group that we're a little bit trepidatious on at the start of the year, but we're getting more and more kind of like there's some confidence now in what we're doing down there with the players
Rounding
we've
out.
got. And it is interesting seeing like the way they've named the side with Mules-Robinson, Evans, Houghton, Dowrick, and Gaunt named on field to start with Young and Tahoe both on the bench. Well, Young
Yeah.
being on the bench is obvious, but Tahoe being named there as well. We know this doesn't mean much. We've seen it plenty of
No,
times.
yeah, it's very interesting,
But yeah, Goody.
especially with Dowrick.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It would be interesting if they started the game that way. I'd be trepidatious of starting the game like Goody starting in the game. The last few times where she's played well has been from the get go, the gun from the starter's gun. So it is an interesting way the side has been
Yeah.
named. But
A bit of mind games maybe from Lozarnell.
yeah, yeah, she's starting to get into a bag of tricks. But first of all, like, just how do you? I mean, what she's going to add to that forward line as far as being a key target and a skillful target. She's been described as the ultimate utility on her profile as young. You kind of get this burgeoning idea that she could just be kind of a player that can do it all. But for her to just be able to start down forward and give Gemma another kind of foil down there and with your Tahoes and Woodland when she's down there, Gaunt, whoever it may be, to have such an incredible talent coming in. Yeah, it is really like, I mean, she is a new recruit, but it really does feel like that. While she's been in the system for 2 years, we're suddenly just getting this new toy to play with out there.
New toys. We love new toys. In any sporting iteration, things can get a bit stale quick.
Yeah. Oh
In
man,
sport. So
Alexander Isak this morning for Liverpool was just
a new toy.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm comparing Alexander Isak and Lauren Young next week, I'll be very, very happy.
Yeah. Both play in the forward end, so
Mhm.
yeah, hopefully. But I read somewhere that she has a good mark, so potentially even when our forwards, as they have been doing in the last couple of weeks, coming up high, hopefully if she is a decent mark above head, then it adds a bit more security with our ball movement going forward too. We can kind of target her either on the wings or flanks as well as that connection piece. And then, yeah, as you're mentioning, to benefit Houghton, keeping her in the danger zone
Mm.
could be quite potent. Obviously, not very familiar with Geelong as a whole, apart from a couple of obvious names. So I'm not sure how proficient their defense is. Funnily enough, when we played Geelong last in 2023, I think we finished with two more scoring shots than them, but we lost by just over 4 goals. So
Mm.
we'll be hoping to, generate a similar amount of scoring shots. It was 17 scoring shots to 15, 5 goals, 12 to 11, 4. Obviously, yeah, 2 years ago now, so not much you can really take from it. But I'll be hoping that we generate a similar amount of scoring shots and potentially keep 12 goals 5 instead of 5 goals 12. That'd be nice. And some of these things help. Our back line is somewhat settled. Our midfield looked much more up to task against Melbourne. Another proficient team, well-drilled team in Melbourne, and now with our forward line rounding itself out, the load can definitely be spread across 21 players.
Mm. Yeah, Geelong, just as a note, they've had an interesting season so far. Couple of tough opponents to start the season off for them. They played North Melbourne in the round one, Adelaide in round two, who they actually had a lead on going into the fourth quarter, I think it was around then, and then Crows just hammered 7 goals in the like last
Wow.
quarter to win quite comfortably.
Mm.
Then they lose in a close one to Sydney, look like they could be a decent team. And they get a win against Essendon and a win against Richmond, who Richmond are probably looking like one of the lesser teams in the competition this year, unfortunately, between injuries and just how they're
And one of
playing.
the oldest too,
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Richmond.
so Richmond might be heading towards a little bit of a period of retooling, as we say at Port Adelaide. Not having a good year. But they did get a win against Essendon, which is a good win. And they do sit at the same win-loss record that we have at the moment. And probably with the similar gripes that we could have at times with the more challenging opening stanza to the season. But yeah, they probably would be feeling pretty dirty about letting the Crows kind of just hammer home the way they did. But, they were able to score 3 goals, three against North Melbourne and lose by 30 points, which is probably a fairly respectable score. I mean, as Port
Yeah.
Adelaide fans, we can't say much about how the scoring goes against North Melbourne. So, yeah, I think they've shown a propensity to be a decent side at times this year. Maybe just, opponents have gotten the wood on them, but decent opponents. And their scoring stats are similar to ours, but it's hard to, again, it's one of those ones that's hard to gauge until we actually play them because you don't know how much that's affected by their opponents. But I mean, the last 2 weeks, they kicked
We
eight
are
goals.
5 rounds in now.
Yeah. They did kick 8 goals, 10 against Essendon, and then 8 goals, 11 against Richmond last week. 6 goals, 9 against Sydney the week before. And then they did kick 3 goals, 9 against Adelaide. They probably just kicked themselves out of that game a little bit the way they were inefficient earlier. So you're getting a sense that they can put some scoreboard pressure on, and they do. Their handball and disposal numbers are very, very similar to the numbers we've talked about with opponents the last few weeks as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think their clearance game is mostly led by Georgie Prasparkas, who is
Mm,
averaging like 8 clearances a game or something like that. Their next best player is Amy McDonald, who averages 5.4 herself. So just the two of them average more than any active player currently playing for us.
hmm
Obviously, that excludes Piper Window, uh, who is due to return soon.
hmm
But yeah, again, from a easing the load, spreading the load type of thing, um, Schultz, Woodland, Dowrick, Lamb, Goody, it's between 2 and 5 a piece. So that bodes well for us because I feel that they're generating score from their clearance.
hmm
Obviously, if you've got a gun averaging, just under 29 disposals in Prasparkas, and about 8 of them are leading to clearance, it's generally from center, and that would give them good looks. So we got our work cut out for us. I would imagine it would just be copy and paste in terms of their intent and their pressure, because not that I know too much of Geelong, but just looking at, fantasy points as a whole, some of these key statistics as a whole. There's a few people that they seem like they rely on for some of these statistics, whereas again, there seems to be a bit more of an even spread throughout our side from a statistical point of view, which can hopefully hold us in good stead. Um, the weather will pose an interesting challenge.
hmm
But hopefully, yeah, one good thing you mentioned their scoring in recent weeks. One good thing about us after the first couple of weeks where we couldn't really generate a score, we at least have been getting some score on the board in the last 3 weeks in particular. So hopefully that rolls on either if it's a fantastic day like it was last Saturday, or if it's a bit more wet. Um, yeah, I hope we can return in kind and try and restrict them, much like we restricted Melbourne.
hmm There is like
Just
some of
pressure
the
around the ball, congest it.
Yeah, there is a few stats that where averages across the season. We're a better contested possession side by +7, tackles almost +11, I believe, as well. So if we can keep up that pressure, and then, like I said, like the disposal efficiency number is very, very similar to what the difference was at the end of our game against Melbourne. I think we're at 54, they're at 63 or something like that. I'm just trying to scroll back up, but uh,
Handballs.
there's a lot of handballing as well. Efficiency inside 50, very, very similar. Same with inside 50s in general. So if we can kind of, just like last week, just make sure we don't let that gap blow out and win a few of those battles, like contested possession, we should be winning, tackles. And as well as the other one I noticed, like they're winning a lot of clearance, but they're getting it from not having a whole lot of hit out help. Like we're averaging 8 more hit outs a game. So if Matilda Scholes, as the unicorn that she is, can both be dominant at the right contest, whether it be centre or around the field and stoppage, and do what some of Matilda Scholes things that she does that change the clearance game comparative to what Geelong have probably faced a lot, because she is just different. She's built different in how she can affect the clearance game. If she's often trying to knock them down to advantage of her midfielders as well, but she can go for the secondary contest and win the ball as well, and get win her own clearance. There'll be, like, if we can mitigate that clearance gap a little bit in those areas as well, and not make it, and then just have
take it out of the ruck.
Yeah,
even
yeah,
for sure.
Take out the middleman. Yeah, just fucking take it out and just go bang. But then, like, along with that, with some of that pressure that we saw last week, to just make it difficult on them, make the handballs difficult. They'll still try their handball game. They'll still try some of those things, but we saw the DNA again, to say use DNA. We saw the DNA of what a system can work within the limitations of what we have at our disposal this year. We saw exactly how we can win games last week, and I think this is Geelong present a very similar test with some stars in the likes of, as you mentioned, Sparkus, and who was it? It was McDonald as well, and a few others there that are doing some good things.
Yeah, Nina Morrison as well is another fairly good campaigner. She's been around for a little while as well.
Yeah.
Few years. I remember when she came into the competition. Again, one of those ones averaging over 20 disposals for the year so far. Michaela Bowen. But the ruck matchup seems to be one that you're talking about Schultz could take advantage of. Actually, I just checked. I just checked averages, but I didn't say. Okay, so it's Piper Dunlop is playing for Geelong. Similar ages, similar height. Schultz obviously taller, but has more games experience. So, whereas with Melbourne, Taylor Harris was taking a lot of ruck. Good matchup for Schultz, I thought, because Harris is actually a lot bigger than I thought. Just obviously only being able to see her on TV.
I was going to say, how was she in person? Was she like? Did she look like
she matched up well? Yeah, she posed a good, tough challenge for Schultz. Obviously being,
she's just
experienced
talent
and
as well.
Being big, also having a bit of run. Not just a bit of a plotter. And then West Coast had two quite serviceable ruckmen, but the fact was that they had two, so that proved to be a different kind of challenge. Whereas I think Schultz should be looking to really take advantage of this situation. And like you just said, we could get a multitude of things coming out of centre. When Schultz gets a good matchup, we can get those punches forward of the stoppage, centre, CBA that is, or edging the opponent off, grabbing it out the ruck. I will say though that to reiterate a small topic from our review show is that if she does have a good matchup, she can tend to try and do too much. And I think the thing that benefited us as a whole against Melbourne was the spread of options. Obviously with Goody, with Dowrick, Woodland in the middle. As much as I love Matilda Schultz and think she's a fantastic player, it is sometimes about having multiple threats rather than just one. Where I look at teams such as this, and Melbourne were the same. They relied on two kind of guns, or a handful of guns, and And I
Mm.
see Geelong being a similar thing. If we can kind of manage their guns and make sure that we're spreading the load, particularly in that midfield group, now that they're getting a bit of momentum behind them, then we can really take advantage of Geelong's backline that way.
Yeah.
If we can consistently put them under pressure and keep the ball living there.
Mm. It'll be about getting those small margin wins. Like I think we won Santa Clara at 7-4 last week, and then a few other like stoppage was fairly even. If we can just shade it at the center clearance and then be even or winning by a few around the stoppage and just getting that contested possession working well, the pressure game and all that stuff, it will lead us to a lot of success on the day. It'll just be about I think turnovers were and once again we're averaging far more than 73 to 60. So that's going to be a big area and probably one that we need to be keying in on every week as a point of
Hmm.
focus for us just to try to find ways to mitigate that turnover. That does sometimes come from those dump kicking or those kicks under pressure. But if we can, I think you said it on the review show, like how many of those numbers might have come from that last 10 minutes of play against Melbourne. But we
Mm.
need to find ways because that's when, if you are in a close, tight game, that's where you can sometimes lose it. And we have lost a few tight ones where we've had an opportunity late due to just not.
Yeah, fourth quarters are a bit of a worry,
Yeah,
as they were in the men's season for the at least the first half of the year.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was another question that got put to Lauren Arnell about the fourth quarters, and she kind of put it down to the team and their mindset and a bit of youth, obviously being a
Mhm.
culprit for that. And look, if it's a matter of focus, at least that can be addressed
Yeah.
and worked upon mentally. If it's fitness, then that's a worry.
Mhm.
Obviously, we won't know, but hopefully, with it in mind, because I felt after half time, it could have been against Melbourne. This is Melbourne could have really come at us hard, but we kind of doubled down a little bit, and we started
Mhm.
the third quarter really quite um, well drilled and professional, I thought, particularly from
Yeah.
a pressure point of view. But that helped us generate forward momentum.
Mhm.
So it's just like, just replicate that again and
Yeah.
keep going. And again, you know, a fairly opportune goal opportunity at the start of the fourth quarter against Melbourne, and we could have basically killed the game then and there, and it didn't work out. Um, so you know, butterfly effect type stuff. If we kick that goal, then maybe we do seem a bit more of a carbon copy third quarter, fourth quarter against Melbourne. But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, fourth quarters across most of our games, I mean, even in the Gold Coast game, they started really well. We just, with
Yeah.
the gap in talent, we managed to level it up and then push ahead anyway.
Mhm.
So it is something that needs to be addressed in amongst, look, a handful of things that need to be addressed. Obviously, we are still chasing a 50-50 win-loss,
Yeah.
um, plus a few other skill improvements and bits and pieces. So it's a work in progress,
Mhm.
um, and hopefully they're switched on.
Yeah. It is a crucial match for the kind of story of the season as well. Because if we drop this one, then we go back to 2-4. We've dropped a few at home. It starts to really get like the climb back into the season starts to get very very steep again. And I brought up that kind of college football analogy earlier in the year from back when college football was just a two-team playoff that you really had to play the season perfectly to kind of get through to a point. And while that's not here, it's just because there's less games in a college football season, and AFLW has a similar kind of thing. Every game just has this like multiplier of importance on it, particularly when you're playing a home game against a team, because you can look at the fixture as we did at the start of the year and kind of look at just some of the games and go, oh, look, well, I mean, we looked at North Melbourne and went, yeah, unlikely. And there's a couple of tough
Mm.
fixtures towards the back end of the year. This one is probably a tough fixture, but it's a winnable tough fixture, and we're playing it at home with a very like a highly highly vaunted recruit coming into the side. We've had some players come back over the last couple of weeks. Like we're still we'd still love to have a few more of those ones that are out in, but we're in a fairly decent spot to be able to try to attack this game and get a win. It is of vital importance that we go and get this win, even if we are underdogs in the betting odds. But geez, we were last week, and that didn't really matter. It is of vital importance we go and get this win because I would be looking at the season as starting to be quite a significant climb if we drop this one again.
Absolutely. With three of our four next fixtures, including Geelong, are all against teams around us. So it is real make or break. We can either fall behind them or push ourselves ahead in terms of contention with a
Mm,
game against the Bulldogs in the mix around St Kilda and Brisbane after this Geelong game. So it is a really crucial part. We started a bit shaky, but that can happen in any football season.
mm,
Unfortunately, yeah, we can't take those back, but hopefully we're getting into our work now and in a really interesting and fascinating portion of the fixture with
mm.
teams Geelong and Brisbane being ahead of us and St Kilda just being one behind us at the moment. It's a really tantalizing prospect to really get the season on a roll
Yeah.
akin to last year and how that shaped up. Obviously, we last year we played teams like I remember St Kilda when we played them last year at Alberton. They were above us on the ladder at the time. We stuck to task, obviously playing them away this
Mm,
year. But the fact of the matter is, I think we came into a similar scenario last season. While we did have a few more easier fixtures in total, we did come into a couple of these scenarios where it was at home against a team either around us or above us in that St Kilda example, and clearly we met the challenge.
mhm.
Obviously, everyone knows our run to finals last year was amazing. So if they can replicate that, dial in. I like our side. I obviously don't know too much about Geelong apart from a couple. Ash
Mm.
Maloney is a gun forward as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Kate Sermon,
um,
former Port player in there.
yeah, we've seen a few now.
Yeah.
Of some opposition teams. So that's very interesting. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I think we got good balance. Obviously, try and challenge opponents a bit more by hand. Um, like we keep saying, we don't expect 60 more disposals, but if we can provide a bit more of a challenge, and we're seeing these other teams with higher disposal efficiencies, and I think a lot of that does come down to some of those handballs which
Penalty. Yeah.
guarantee a tick to the disposal efficiency and an upswing there. So
I
we
want
don't
to
have to
see it.
reinvent the wheel.
I want
We
to see
just
like
need
a
to keep putting them
meters.
under pressure.
Yeah, I want to see a meters gained efficiency like equation, like because that's probably a different efficiency number that maybe speaks to some like whether you. I mean, some of the players that do get a big meters gain in the women's side and the men's. It's kind of like something I've been thinking. I'm not smart enough to probably figure out what kind of, but I'm looking for a stat that is like efficiency of bulk gain, like of yards gained, so to speak. Um,
Mm.
but and it might be out there. I haven't found it, but yeah, no, you're right. The disposal efficiency number being so similar to the team we played last week, and how that game finished, it kind of does speak to that handballing, and it will be just about getting the pressure on those triangulated handballs and all that stuff. So it's a really intriguing matchup coming, and one I'm very very much looking forward to getting down to. I'm 99% sure I'm getting down there again, battling some family illness, but I'm thinking I'm going to be getting down there. So looking forward to it. If anyone's around, feel free to say good day if you see me
Nice.
mobbing around there, just watching the ladies hopefully get the job done. Are you feeling it? Feeling a tipping a win?
I think I think we're in a good spot too.
Mm,
Geelong have won the two on the bounce, but and fair enough, Essendon are still in the eight, but I'm still a bit sus about Essendon. And
yeah,
so teams that beat Essendon, I'm like, they just come up against a win against Richmond, who, yeah, are going to be anchored to the bottom, it would seem,
yeah,
for the season. And they've had, you know, some similar battles against some decent opponents just like we have. So I think it's all right there to be won.
Yeah.
Um, it's just how quickly we can switch on and how long we can maintain that focus for across the 4 quarters. But yeah, I'm confident. I think we should be when a game's at Alberton, provided it's not North Melbourne. I think we should be confident.
Mm.
Whoever it is that we're playing, the crowd that rocks up definitely gives the girls a lift. And they generally always tend to play well at home, which is good.
Mm.
Because yeah, we've got six games at home in total, plus with the benefit of the showdown, another game in Adelaide,
Yeah.
um, and hopefully we can win our lion's share of them and maybe nab an away win along the way. But that's looking too far forward. The fact of the matter is we've got a good opportunity here, and I think we can take it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% concur. I'm got a quiet confidence. I'm certainly like intrigued for the battle, and I don't believe it'll be easy, but I just have a quite confidence that comes out of what they showed us last week against Melbourne that they can
Mm.
apply the pressure. And I'll be really mostly keen to see if we are in a battle, or at least hopefully have ourselves with maybe a couple of goal lead going into the last quarter. It would be lovely if it was more, but if we
Mm.
have ourselves a little bit of a platform going into the last quarter, how we manage that last quarter will be of key interest to me, and see what kind of growth they might have got out of last week's game, and their experiences of late, to see how they can mature in that aspect of the game. But it's going to be an enjoyable one. We look forward to being back here on Tuesday evening to review it. Regardless of what happens, we will be here and we'll be reviewing it, and hopefully reviewing a win. That is it for the squad show. Jamie and I will be continuing on, for those listening on Patreon, for a little bit longer, chatting about a couple of things happening, whether it be the player movement kind of landscape at the moment, because it's really intriguing to me at the moment, as well as just some of the little changes and rumours and whatnot that are happening at Port Adelaide at the moment. So that'll be happening on the Patreon. So if you're listening to this episode on Patreon, you can feel free to keep listening. We'll be just keep it on going. But if you're listening on the main feeds and you're not part of the Patreon, then the episode will be coming to a close very, very shortly. So we thank you for listening and supporting. And if you do certainly want to jump on the Patreon, patreon.com/the Creed 1870, get on there. Helps keep the lights on, so to speak, for the podcast, as well as we try to add a little bit of extra content in there. We did across the men's season with the squad show exclusively on Patreon there. And this year we're just adding a little bit of extra Easter eggs in there for the people that are listening to the squad show on Patreon as well. So, but yeah, as we said, if you're not listening on Patreon, we bid you adieu for this evening, and Khan the lady pair.
Thanks for the support, guys. Have a good weekend.